There are moments in life that define you, not by how you plan them but by how you survive them. My name is Katherine Lewis, and until 3 years ago, I thought I had it all figured out. A beautiful house in the quiet suburbs of Portland, a husband with a stable job in finance, and a son who brought light into every room he entered. But like most things that seem too good to be true, my marriage eventually unraveled, and with it, so did I. I met Nathan when we were both in our late 20s. He was charming, confident, and career-driven. We moved fast, engaged within a year, married the next. Our son, Mason, was born shortly after, and for a while, our life looked like the kind of picture-perfect dream that people envy on social media. But what they don't tell you is that perfection often hides fractures, cracks that widen silently. Over the years, Nathan grew distant. Our conversations became transactional, centered only around schedules, bills, or Mason's schoolwork. I noticed he stayed late at the office more often, and when he was home, he was physically present but emotionally unreachable. I tried to bridge the gap, suggested therapy, getaways, even weekend date nights. But it was like yelling into a void. Eventually, I discovered the truth. He had met someone else. It wasn't a dramatic reveal. No lipstick on collars or secret messages. Just a quiet confession one evening after dinner. He said he hadn't meant for it to happen. That he was confused. That he still cared about me, but not in the way a husband should. I remember sitting at the edge of our bed, trying to keep my breath even while the walls closed in. The next morning, he moved out. Divorce isn't just paperwork. It's a storm that sweeps through your identity. One moment you're someone's wife, a partner in a shared life, and the next, you're just you, alone, undefined. I spent months waking up to silence, trying to fill the space Nathan left behind with routine. I focused on Mason. He was 13 at the time, at that delicate age where boys drift between childhood and teenagehood. I was determined to keep things steady for him, even if I was falling apart inside. At first, Mason didn't say much. He kept things bottled up, his grief expressing itself through silence or sudden frustration. But over time, something shifted. Not just in him, but in me. It began on a rainy Saturday afternoon, the kind where Portland's gray skies felt heavier than usual. I was curled up on the couch with a mug of untouched tea, pretending to read a book while my mind drifted into old memories. Mason walked in, tossed his backpack onto the floor, and sat beside me. "Hey, Mom," he said casually. "Do you want to help me with my science project?" I blinked. "You never want help with your schoolwork." He shrugged. "Figured you could use something to do." There was no sarcasm in his tone, just quiet empathy. That moment marked the beginning of something new. Helping him with that project turned into nightly conversations, movie marathons, and weekend bike rides. We cooked dinner together, sometimes successfully, sometimes resulting in laughter-filled takeout orders. He started telling me about his school life, his favorite teacher, his crush on a girl named Lily, his dreams of becoming a wildlife photographer. One evening, as we were making homemade pizza, our dough creation looking more like an abstract sculpture than food, Mason looked up at me and said, "You smile more now." I paused. "Do I?" "Yeah," he nodded. "You didn't smile like this after Dad left. But now, you laugh at my jokes again. Even the bad ones." I laughed right then, mostly because the last joke he had told involved a duck walking into a pharmacy. But his words stayed with me. It wasn't that the pain had disappeared. It hadn't. I still had nights where I missed the companionship, where I lay awake wondering if I could have done something differently. But Mason, he was showing me something else. That healing isn't about forgetting. It's about rebuilding, even when the foundation feels cracked. He began inviting me to his school events, science fairs, basketball games, even parent-student lunches. I initially worried that my presence would embarrass him, but he proudly introduced me to his friends, teachers, and even Lily. At his 8th grade graduation, as he walked across the stage with a grin that could outshine any storm cloud, I felt something stir in me. Not sadness. Not regret. But pride. and hope. That summer, we took a road trip down the Pacific Coast Highway. Just the two of us. We stayed in small coastal towns, ate seafood by the beach, and camped under the stars. We talked about everything: music, dreams, fears. And I realized something profound. I hadn't just been healing. I had been rediscovering who I was. Not Katherine the wife, but Katherine the mother, the woman, the person with her own joys, flaws, and future. Mason asked me once during that trip, "Do you think you'll ever fall in love again?" I hesitated before answering. I think, maybe. But I'm not in a rush. Right now, I'm focused on me. And on you. He smiled. Good. 'Cause I like having you to myself. We both laughed, and I ruffled his hair, which had grown long over the summer. He didn't protest like he used to. Maybe he sensed that this time in our lives was special. A turning point. Back home, I returned to work with a renewed sense of purpose. I'd always wanted to start my own event planning business, and with encouragement from Mason and a push from a close friend, I finally did. It was terrifying, but thrilling. I found joy in small victories again. A satisfied client. A successful wedding. A thank you note. And through it all, Mason was there, cheering me on, sometimes helping with decorations or brainstorming ideas. He became not just my son, but my teammate, my biggest supporter. Looking back now, I realize the title of divorcee was never meant to define me. It was a chapter, not the whole book. And it was Mason, my boy with the wide eyes and honest heart, who helped me see that. Who reminded me of my strength, my worth, and the beauty that still remained in my life. Years later, at his high school graduation, as he delivered the valedictorian speech, he mentioned me. He didn't tell me beforehand, just stood there in his cap and gown, the summer sun lighting his face, and said, "To my mom, who showed me what courage really looks like. You didn't just raise me. You rebuilt us. And in doing that, you taught me how to love, how to hope, and how to keep going." There wasn't a dry eye in the crowd, least of all mine. Today, Mason's in college, studying environmental science with a minor in photography. We still talk every night, sometimes for a few minutes, sometimes for hours. He sends me pictures from his hikes, asks for advice about girls, and still tries to make me laugh with his terrible duck jokes. As for me, I'm still single, and that's okay. Because I've found happiness, not in a partner, but in myself. In my son. In the life we've created from the ruins of what once was. Divorce may have broken my marriage, but it didn't break me. And it was Mason, my sweet, strong boy, who helped me see that. Who helped me heal. He cured me not with medicine or magic, but with love.